Okay, we loan money. But of course, with loaning, if we think about loan words, it's not that we're not going to take the words back to the original language, but we just loan. Unlike the way we use loan when it comes to borrowing money, you loan and then you're expected to return the money that you have loaned, that you have been loaned. So what are loan words? Loan words are lexical items which have been borrowed from another language. It was not part of the vocabulary of the recipient language. So for example, Old English did not have a word for pork. It was borrowed from French. So pork, pig, pork, especially in the medieval period. Okay, so I've given you an example of the word spoon, which has been borrowed, from English. Can you think of other examples? Even English has borrowed, some words from other languages. For instance, French, laissez-faire. So think about other words that are borrowed, either in your local language, in your mother tongue. If your mother tongue has borrowed, words from other languages, think about them. What are they? Okay, we're moving on to another classification, to another form of semantic change. This one is known as taboo replacement and avoidance of obscenity. This is very common even in our cultures, whereby we tend not to add an utterance or a phrase or even a word just because we see that it's obscene to use them, and we opt for words that are considered to be better. Okay, some examples here. We have as if you're using it not referring to a donkey or not referring to a horse, does not have, I would say, in quotes, a good meaning. Okay, another example is cock, a rooster. This one also may not have a good meaning. Okay, and then we have bloody nose and even toilet. Okay, now that we have toilet as an example, I'm thinking of some of the words that we use, or some of the words or phrases that we use in my own mother tongue when you're referring to the toilet. Okay, for instance, nyumba ya ikulu for toilet. Okay, we do not want to be using chimbos, which is very direct, but we use a word like nyumba ya ikulu to refer to the toilet. So we have some English examples here for toilet: water closet, bathroom, lavatory, restroom, loo, okay, and even John. Okay, can you see? So taboo replacement and avoidance of obscenity. Another classification is that of euphemism. Okay, EU, when we have EU at the beginning of the word, it normally means well. So maybe it was something that was not good, and now the changes have made that word to appear good. Okay, so well, this is when one refers to something unpleasant by using milder words and phrases so that the formerly inoffensive word receives a disagreeable meaning. Okay, to pass away and then deceased. Can you think of some equivalents in your languages, in your mother tongue? I'm thinking of one in Chichewa. We do not normally say Aminyaja afa. Aminyaja afa. So afa is normally avoided, but we say Adisia. So this is an example of euphemism. Another form of semantic change known as hyperbole. Hyperbole is a shift in meaning due to an exaggeration by overstatement. So examples we have terribly, horribly, awfully, when the action itself cannot be considered as awful. It cannot even be considered as horrible. It cannot even be considered as terrible. Okay? But sometimes we normally exaggerate. And then another example is haven't seen you for ages. I haven't seen you in a long time. But for ages, when you think of ages, you think of maybe a century and so on. So this is also another form of exaggeration referred to as a hyperbole. Okay, and then we also have another form of semantic change, which is known as light words. Light words is shift in meaning due to exaggeration by understatement. Remember what we said about hyperbole? It was exaggeration by overstatement. So it was exaggeration by overstatement. But with right words, it is exaggeration by understatement. So expressing the affirmative by the negative of its contrary. So not bad when you're referring to good, not small when you're referring to great. Do we have such examples or similar examples in Chichewa, or similar examples in Chidumbuga, or even similar examples in other languages that you know? Okay? Write them down if you know them. And then we have another form of semantic change, which is known as irony. Okay, irony. So with irony, we normally refer to the expression of one meaning by words of opposite sense. Usually it is done for the purpose of ridicule. How nice when it is not nice, when you are angry. Okay, and sometimes we just say these words or these utterances, these expressions, just to please the others when you not actually want to say that something is nice. I have in mind, here, the comments that people normally make on Facebook when a person, for instance, I may want to upload a photo, on Facebook, or you may also want to upload a photo on Facebook, maybe a photo that is not that nice, but the comments that you get from people, how nice, okay, how nice, and so on, when the picture is not that nice. It may just be okay, but not very nice, but you get, comments that may mean even the opposite. Another example is a prettiness you have done of it. So a prettiness you have done of it. So a prettiness. Is it possible to have a mess that is pretty? A mess that is pretty? Think about it. Okay, so we have looked at different forms of semantic changes. Different. And we have tried to illustrate all these changes with some examples. And in some cases I was trying to ask you to think about examples in your own languages, in your own mother tongue in particular. So what we can say here is that semantic change does not only concern words. Okay, semantic change may also concern changes that have occurred about expressions, phrases, even statements, maybe formulaic statements that are no longer in use or that have changed. Grammatical constructions also have meanings. Okay, these do not remain constant over time, and the ways in which they change often overlap with certain types of lexical semantic change. So remember, the focus in this topic was on lexical semantic change, because we're just talking about maybe a phrase or even word or words. Okay, but grammatical constructions also change. We may have been constructing, or people may have been constructing sentences in one way, like in medieval English or in Old English, but now the constructions are different in modern English. So there are also changes that affect the grammar of languages. Moving on to ways of classifying semantic change. Traditional typologies give us terms that we can use to describe many different kinds. Okay, so there is an advantage of these changes. We are able maybe to talk about, to have a variety of ways of talking about something. And when it comes to writing, people may want to choose irony. Remember when we talked about irony? People may also want to apply or to use metonymy and so on to make their writing interesting. Okay, so this marks the end of our lesson. But as usual, there are books that I would like you to consult in order to come across, in order for you to use more examples, and also for you to get more explanations of the forms of semantic change that we were discussing today. Thank you very much for listening.